Hello friends and welcome to Virtual Tech Box YouTube channel. Today I will show you how to install the VMware Vsphere 7 Home Lab. Before we start, if you are new on channel, I will request you to subscribe to channel and press the bell icon so that you will get the notification when I update the new video. Please watch the video till the end as all the steps are very important for creating the home lab for the VMware Vsphere 7. So let's start. This is the system in which I will be creating the VMware Vsphere 7 Home Lab, and this is VMware Workstation I have installed in this system, and VMware Workstation version is 15.5 Pro, and I have already created one virtual machine in this VMware Workstation and install the Windows Server 2016. During the deployment, I will require the ESXi 7 and vCenter 7 ISO, which I have already downloaded. You can click on I button and go to the video which explains in detail how to download the ESXi 7 and vCenter 7 ISO from the VMware's official website. These two ISOs I have already downloaded in my system. So my first step would be to create domain controller. So this is our Windows Server 2016 system, and I will be installing the domain controller in this system. I will full screen it. I will go to add roles and features. Next, role based. Next, I will select the server here, which is my Windows Server 2016 server, and IP is 192.168.0.28, and hostname for this Windows Server 2016 is Win 2016 VM01. Next, I will select Active Directory Domain Services. Add features. Next, group policy management. Next, install. Feature installation completed. I will press close. After the feature installation, you will see this yellow mark on the server manager. I will go here and I will click on promote this server to a domain controller. I will select add a new forest. It is asking the root name. I'm giving the root name virtualtechbox.com. Next. These options I will leave as it is. It is asking to type the password for the DSRM. I will give the password here. Any password you can set. Next. Next. My net BIOS name would be Virtual Tech Box. Next. 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 It has verified all the prerequisites. Install. Installation completed. Message is coming. This server was successfully configured as domain controller. Now it will restart it automatically. Restart has completed. I will log in. I will give the password. I will make it full screen. Now I have to create the reverse pointer record for my subnet. For that I will go to Tools, DNS, this is my forward lookup zone. You can see here in reverse lookup zone, no zone is created. I will right click new zone, next, primary zone, next, IPv4 reverse lookup zone, next. I will give my network ID 192.168.0. Next, next, finish. You can see here reverse lookup zone has been created for my subnet. Now my DNS and domain controller is ready, and we have completed the step 1. We are now going to start our step 2, and step 2 is ESXi 7 first ESXi 7 host installation. This is the folder where I am saving my virtual machines of the VMware Workstation. Here I will create one folder for the first ESXi host. Now I will go to VMware Workstation, create new virtual machine, custom, next, next. I will install operating system later, next, VMware ESXi, next, virtual machine name, ESXi 7 VM02, and I will browse to the folder which I had created previously, E drive VMware Workstation ESXi 7 VM02. Okay, next, I will make it 2, next. 4 GB is enough for my ESXi 7 host, next. Use bridge networking, next, next, next. Create a new virtual disk, next. I will make it 20 GB. Store virtual disk as a single file, next, next, and finish. Second virtual machine for the first ESXi 7 host has been created. I will edit setting, I will attach the ISO file, This is the folder where I have already downloaded all the ISO. I will connect the ESXi 7 ISO. Open. OK. I will power it on. ESXi 7 host installation has started. I will make it full screen. We can hide the command bar. Enter F11. Enter US default. I will set the password for the root. Enter F11. I will enter to reboot. Restart completed. I have to set the static IP to the host. I will press F2. I will give the password for the root. One 192.168.0.160 subnet mask 255.255.255.0. I'll give the gateway. Enter. Escape. Yes. I will restart the management network. F11. Enter. Test management network. One 192.168.0.28. Enter. Test is okay. Our first ESXi 7 host is ready now, and we have completed the step 2 also. We will now start the step 3, and step 3 is second ESXi 7 host installation. I will go to VMware Workstation. I will create the new virtual machine. Next, 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 next. I will give the VM name ESXi 7 VM03. I will create the folder for this virtual machine. ESXi 7 VM03. I will give the path. Next, I will make it 2. Next, 4 GB is enough. Bridge networking. Next, 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 next. 20 GB store virtual disk as a single file. Next, next, finish. Edit virtual machine setting. I will attach the ISO. Enter F11. Enter US default. I will set the password. Enter F11. Enter to reboot. Restart completed. I will set the static IP F2. I will give the password for the root. Configure management network. IPv4. Set static. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. I will give the gateway. Enter. DN. Escape. Yes. Restart management network. F11. Enter. Escape. We have installed the second ESXi host also, and we have completed the step 3. We will now move forward to step 4, which is vCenter server installation on VMware Workstation. This is the vCenter 7 ISO file. I will right click on it, mount. I will go to VCSA folder, and here you can see one OVF file is there. I will go to VMware Workstation, file, open, and I will select that OVF file which I have shown you just before. Accept, next. I will give the VM name VCSA VM04. And I will give the path of my system where I am saving all the VMware virtual machines. One thing I have to do, which is host entry for the vCenter to the domain controller. I will go to my domain controller. I will go to DNS manager. I will right click on my domain name, and I will give the host name for my VCSA. I will give the IP address 192.168.0.111. I want to create the associated pointer record. Add host. Okay. DNS entry for the vCenter has completed. Here I will press next. I will move ahead with the first option, next. Here I have to give all the network related details of the vCenter 7. IP address family, IPv4, network mode, static, host network IP address 192.168.0.111, prefix 255.255.255.0, I will give the gateway here 192.168.0.38. I will give the DNS server here 192.168.0.28. Host network identity, I will provide the host name of my vCenter server here, which is vCSI vm04.virtualtechbox.com. Import, it is importing from the OVF file. Import completed. It will now power on the virtual machine. I will only provide here login name. I will not provide here password. Installation is still going on at the back end. Message is coming, root password is not set. To set the root password, I will press F2. I will provide here the new password. I will confirm the new password. Enter. I have set the password for the vCenter. I will now go to my main system where I have installed the VMware Workstation. Actually, I have to do the DNS entry for this system to my domain controller. I will copy the host name of my main system where VMware Workstation is installed. I will go to my domain controller. I have taken the RDP of the domain controller. I will right click on my domain. I will give the host name of my main system. I will give the IP address, which is 192.168.0.38. I want to create the reverse pointer record. Add host. OK. Host entry for my main system has completed. I will now go to my browser and I will open the management interface of the vCenter server, which is https://IP address:5480. setup, I will give the root password here, login. Next, these are all the network settings of the vCenter server. I want to enable the SSH for my vCenter. Next, I will provide the root password again here, login. Next, SSO domain vsphere.local. I will provide the password for the SSO. I will confirm the password for the single sign-on. Next, I will untick the CIP. Next, these are all the configuration which we have set for the vCenter. Finish. Okay. It has started the stage 2 for the vCenter. Stage 2 installation has completed. I will again go to management interface of the vCenter server. I will provide the username, root, password for the root, login. Here you can do the networking, firewall, syslog and backup related configurations. Here you can monitor the CPU, memory and all. I will go to time. I will go to edit on time zone. I will select my time zone. Save. I will now go to web interface of my vCenter server. Which is httpn:// and host name of my vCenter server. Advanced, proceed, launch vSphere client HTML. I will provide the login name administrator@vsphere.local. I will provide the single sign-on password here. Login. I have logged into my newly installed vCenter Server 7. This is the version and build number of my newly installed vCenter. Before I move forward, I have to do the small setting at my domain controller. I will go to my domain controller. I will log in here. I will go to network adapter settings. IPv4 address setting properties, and instead of 127.0.0.1 I will provide here the IP address of the domain controller, which is 192.168.0.28. Okay, close. I will do the disable and enable for the network adapter. I will again go to my vCenter. I have to now join my vCenter to the Active Directory. I will go to menu, administration, single sign-on, configuration. Here I will go to Active Directory domain. Here you can see my vCenter is not the domain join. I will click on join AD. I will provide the domain name, which is virtualtechbox.com. Login administrator. I will provide the domain administrator password here. Join. Message is coming that our vCenter has joined the Active Directory and reboot is required. To reboot the vCenter server, I will go to management interface. I will log in here by providing the root credentials. I will go to actions and reboot. To monitor the reboot process, I will go to VMware Workstation and I will see the console of the vCenter server virtual machine. In the console, I can monitor the reboot process of the vCenter server. Reboot of the vCenter has completed. I will go to browser. I will give the IP address of my vCenter server, which is 192.168.0.111. Launch HTML client. Login name administrator@vsphere.local. I will provide the single sign-on password here. Login. I will refresh here. I have to now add my domain to the identity sources of the vCenter server. I will go to menu, administration and configuration under the single sign-on. Here you can see identity sources. I will click on add. We have already joined the Active Directory, so here it is showing my domain name. I will click on add. I will refresh once. Here you can see my domain has been added to the identity sources of the vCenter server. I will now go to users and group. Here actually I have to add the domain admins to the administrator group. I will go to groups and I will search for the administrator. I will select the administrators. I will go to edit group. In drop down I will select my domain name. I will search here domain admins. Save. Domain admins has been added to the administrators group of the vCenter server. I have to now provide the administrator rights to the domain admins on my vCenter server. For that I will go to menu, host and cluster. I will select the vCenter server on left side. On right side I will go to permissions. I will click on plus. In drop down I will select my domain name. In the group option I will search domain admins. These are the multiple roles which can be assigned. I want to assign the administrator role. Propagate to children. Okay. Now my domain admins has the administrator rights on the vCenter server and single sign-on. I will now log out from the vCenter server and will try to log in through the domain administrator credentials. Login name I will provide administrator@virtualtechbox.com. I will give the domain administrator password here. Login. Here you can see I have successfully logged in through the domain administrator credentials to my vCenter server, and we have successfully installed and configured the vCenter server 7 also on the VMware Workstation. Step 4 is also completed. Now I'm having the domain controller, first ESXi host, second ESXi host, and vCenter. All these three virtual machines on the VMware Workstation. Now I will have to create my data center and the cluster inside my vCenter server. For that, I will log in to my vCenter through the web interface. Administrator@vsphere.local. I will give the password. I will go to menu, host and clusters. I will right click on the vCenter server, new data center, mylab-dc. Okay. Data center has been created. Now I will right click on the data center, new cluster. I will give the name here, mylab-cluster. Okay. Cluster created. Now I will add the host to this cluster. I will right click on the cluster, add host. I will give the IP address of the first ESXi host, 192.168.0.160. I will give the username, root. I will provide the password for the root. I will give the IP address of the second ESXi host, 192.168.0.170. I will give the username root. I will provide the password for the root. Next. OK. Next. Finish. Now both the host has been added to the cluster. I'm having domain controller, 2 ESXi host, vCenter, and I have created the cluster also and added the both the hosts to the cluster. Now next target is to create the iSCSI storage. To create the iSCSI storage, I will use this Windows 2016 machine, which is my domain controller. In this machine I will go to E drive and I will create the folder for the shared disk, which I will be using as the iSCSI storage. I will make it full screen first. This is my domain controller. I will go to server manager, file and storage services, iSCSI, to install iSCSI target server, start the add roles and features wizard. I will click here. iSCSI target server is selected. Next. Next. Install. iSCSI target server is being installed on the server. Feature installation completed. I will press close. Now it is giving me the option to create an iSCSI virtual disk. Start the new iSCSI virtual disk wizard. I will click here. I will select the server name. I want to give the custom path. I don't want to use the complete drive. I will select type a custom path. I will give this custom path. Next. I will give the name. Shared disk. Next. I will give the size here 50 GB. Total space is 80 GB. I will give the 50 GB. Next. New iSCSI target. Next. Target name and access. iSCSI target server. Name I have given. Next. access servers. I will click add. Enter a value for the selected type. I will drop down and select the IP address. I will give the IP address 192.168.0.170. Okay. Next. Create. iSCSI target created. Close. I'll refresh once. You can see here it is showing the iSCSI target server created. I will right click, go to properties and initiator. I will add the second host. Add. Enter a value for the selected type. IP address. I will give the IP address 192.168.0.160. Okay. Apply. Okay. Now iSCSI target server has been created and share disk has been created and configured here. Now I have to go to ESXi host and add this iSCSI storage there. I will minimize. This is my vCenter. I will go to second host, which is 170. I will add the software adapter. Okay. iSCSI software adapter has been added. I will go to dynamic discovery, add. I will give the iSCSI server IP, which is 192.168.0.28. Okay. It is showing the IQN number of the target server. After this, you have to select this software iSCSI adapter and rescan. Okay. Rescan completed. Then I will go to data stores. I will go to actions, storage, rescan storage. Okay. Rescan all HBA is going on. Rescan completed. Now I will go to actions, storage, new data store, VMFS. Next, I will give the name LAN01 and this is the iSCSI storage which has been detected during the scan, 50 GB. I will select this and press next. VMware 6. Next, I will select the maximum size, which is 50 GB. Next, finish. You can see here LAN 1 is mounted. In similar way, we'll have to mount the storage, iSCSI storage at the second ESXi host. I have already added the iSCSI software adapter to this host. I will select the iSCSI storage. I will go to dynamic discovery, add. I will give the IP address 192.168.0.28. OK. It is asking us to rescan the software iSCSI adapter. We will rescan it. OK. Rescan completed. I will go to data stores. You can see here through dynamic discovery that LAN 01 has been mounted. It has been discovered and mounted, because for the first server we had formatted it with the VMFS, and we had already provided the access to these two hosts over that iSCSI storage. So after adding with the static setting on the 0.170 in 160, we can map this automatically with the dynamic setting, dynamic discovery. We have only given the IP address under the software adapter, under the dynamic discovery of the software adapter, and LAN 01 got discovered dynamically. Now we have the iSCSI storage or shared storage mounted on both the hosts. I can right click and create the new virtual machine. I will give the name to the virtual machine. Next, 160. Next, storage, shared storage. Next, Windows 10. Hard disk I will select 10 GB. Thin provision. Memory 2 GB. Next, finish. You can see here on 0.160 one Windows 10 VM I have created. Now I will enable the vMotion on both the host. First on 160 I will go to configure VM kernel adapter. I will select the VM kernel adapter. I will go to edit and I will tick the vMotion. OK. OK. Configuration completed. Similarly, I will go to second host, VM kernel. I will select the VM kernel network adapter. I will go to edit. I will enable the vMotion. Okay. VM kernel on both the network adapter of the host has been completed. My Windows 10 virtual machine is hosted on the host 160. I will right click and click on migrate. I want to do the vMotion, so I will select the first option. Next, it is asking me to select the host. I will select the second host on which I want to migrate my virtual machine. Next, finish. You can see relocate virtual machine has completed, which means vMotion has completed. Previously my virtual machine was hosted on 160. Now it should be on 170, and which is showing here. Windows 10 virtual machine has been migrated through vMotion from first host to another host. Now 160 is not having any virtual machine, and 170 is having the Windows 10 virtual machine. I will wrap up my video here. If you have any doubt in this Vsphere 7 Home Lab setup, you can ask me in the comment. And while trying this Home Lab, Vsphere 7 Home Lab at the home, if you face any type of error or difficulty, you can ask me in the comment. We will try to resolve it. Like and share the video, subscribe to channel. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.